Hello everyone, welcome to another video. Oh, should probably turn the fan off too. That would help. I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite pieces of filmmaking gear, and it's what I'm using to light me right now. It's actually over there. You would think it's over there, but it's not. That's because it's the Aputure spotlight mount. In May of 2021, a guy you may know, Lewis Potts, released this video on YouTube.
And just shoot it into where I'd want to put the light if I had more time and crew to put an actual light up there. It'll bounce off that wall and light your subject.
And after watching that video, I thought to myself, man, I need to go buy one of those things because that's pretty awesome. So I did, and now I've been using it for about 2 years. It has been one of the most versatile tools I've ever used for filmmaking, and I would never want to not have one. So thank you, Lewis, for convincing me to buy this. And for the rest of this video, I'm going to break down how I've used this light on some different projects. Alright, so the first project we're going to look at is Home, a short film that I shot in the fall of 2022. Alright, so I don't have one of those fancy pens where I can draw on my computer screen, but I have the next best thing, pen and paper. So I'm going to have a frame up here from the project, and then just draw out a quick diagram of how I got it. Here's the couch, and here is our actor. We have the camera positioned on the shadow side. Spotlight mount here, bouncing into this wall. My angle's a little bit off. It'd probably be more like that. But we had it bouncing into this wall, and then the return is what's keying him on that side. And right here we have the little end table with the lamp motivating that light. And to get the warm color, I put a CTO gel on it because I'm using the 300D, so it's not bicolor. One thing that I wish I could do differently about this frame is, you can see right here, the light is actually hitting that end table, and it's pretty hard. If I'm trying to sell that this light is coming from the lamp, I would have needed to net that off, but we were moving really quickly and just didn't have time, and most people won't notice or care. So, all right, next project. Next, we're going to look at how I used the spotlight mount on a series of interviews that I did back in the spring of 2022. Alright, so for this series of interviews, they were all lit the same way for the most part. We had the interview subject here, the camera placed just off to the side. The spotlight mount here is shooting into a 4x4 of poly bounce, and then the return is what's keying him. And then we had a little Aputure MC giving him this tiny bit of edge right here. And on one of the other interviews, I had a 2-foot pavo tube serving as the edge. And then the other one, we didn't have any edge on that one. Other things to note, here you have some shears on the windows to keep it from clipping. And then just a little lamp back there. I would place the lamp somewhere else now if I could go back and do it. All right, the next project we're gonna look at is how I use this spotlight mount in a live music video setting. So basically, this box here is a massive white sheet that we had hanging overhead. It was propped up on 4 C-stands. I don't recommend doing it. It was very janky, and yeah, put it up in a grid if you have that available. We did not. We did this whole music video on a very low budget. So don't do it, but we did it. These dots you see here are all the different band members we had standing underneath the giant white sheet. And then we had the spotlight mount blasting into the top of the sheet. And then we had 2 other Aputure lights with the Fresnels bouncing into the sheet to create this massive top light. It was a very nice, soft light, and I like the way it turned out. And the next instance we're going to look at of using this spotlight mount is how I used it for a fake live Christmas Carol recording. This one's really simple, just had the spotlight mount shooting into the ceiling right above the piano here. It's pretty similar to the approach we did on the other music video, but this one's a little bit smaller. All the light that you see in the frame, apart from the lamps and the Christmas trees and whatever little lamp is hitting this here, is coming from the light, the spotlight mount hitting the ceiling. So it lit up the whole room really nicely. I threw a CTO on there to warm it up so it would match the ambience of the lamps that are in the room and give it more of a warm, Christmassy feel. In one of the other shots, you can see the Christmas tree that's behind this guy here. So it helps bring it all together. Yes, I know this lamp right here is clipped. I know you don't have to go into the comments and say anything. I had a dimmer with me and put the lamp on a dimmer and the bulb started flickering, so I'd rather have a clipped lamp than a flickering lamp, and it is what it is. This music video was a very fast shoot. We only had an hour to get it done, and it was just me by myself. So, you know, sometimes things happen and slip through the cracks when you're working that way, but that's one thing I really love about using the spotlight mount is it is fast and out of the way. There's no light stands or lights that I have to move around once we get going. I have freedom to move all around in here without ever having to move anything or worry about anything being in the frame. Whatever light was up here and hitting over here and over here, over here, over here, that's it. I didn't move the spotlight once. I didn't have to. You can see it's hitting him nicely here and wrapping around his face, lighting up the piano very well. Here, it's hitting his forehead and falling off around here, and that's a different project. Really the only complaint I have, other than the clipped lamp there, is I wish I could have pulled them all off the wall a little bit more, but we couldn't move the piano to create some separation between the subjects and the background a little bit more. I had to cut the spotlight mount. It was a balancing act between getting enough light on them but not having it spill too much on the background. All right, so the last 4 examples we just looked at were of some variation of bouncing this light into something and then using that as the key light. And the next 2 are going to be how I used this tool in a different way. All right, so next we're going to look at A Tempest on the Rise, which is the music video I shot some underwater stuff for that I recently posted on my channel. This is how we lit the whole band sequence. We had them stand in the corner of this room, and we put up a duvetine on both sides to create this black background. And then we had the spotlight mount skimming the edge of his face. You can see it right here. That's hard light that's hitting him. It's not soft at all. And that hard light is skimming across his face. And then we had a large 4x4 bounce of polyboard right here. So the light that is going past him is hitting that bounce and then adding some fill here onto this side. All right, and to wrap it all up, we're gonna take a look at 7. And this was a promo style video that I shot out in the cave in Alabama. And thankfully the cave had a hole in the ceiling and the light was shining through, so we were able to use that as our key light, wrapping around from the back for the whole entire video. We didn't need any other light in there except for what's hitting him here, and then we just positioned him around all the light that was hitting in the cave, making sure we stayed on the shadow side. I would redo this grade now if I could. I graded this about 2 years ago and I made it way too crunchy, but for all the shots of this that I use on my reel and portfolio, I've actually regraded it. But moving on, so hole in the ceiling, camera placed right here, and then we have the spotlight mount with a gobo on the inside of it. And if you don't know what that is, it's a little disc with some different shapes cut out. And we bought one from Roscoe that had jail bars on it, so we could simulate this door, jail door slamming. And I put some CTO on it, don't remember what strength it was, to give the light almost a sunset color. It's supposed to feel like it's evening, just before the sun setting. So we basically had this on a C-stand. I had the bolt loosened up so my grip could just swing it back and forth. And it looked really stupid on set. I was like, this is kind of goofy and doesn't work. But then we went back and added sound design, and it completely changes the way that it feels. which just shows you how powerful sound truly is. Alright, so that's all we have for this video. Again, I just want to thank Lewis for sharing his knowledge with all of us here on YouTube. And if he wasn't able to convince you to buy the spotlight mount, I hope I was in this video. But I think he's a lot more convincing than I am. But that's it for this video. See ya.